Hey everyone, welcome to my Teach Me project on the axial bone. This is basically the backbone of your whole body, literally. We will cover your skull, the spine, and your ribs. I will also use some Spanish, since Spanish is my first language, and it helps me a lot when in the time that I'm gonna memorize and understand the key terms. Let's make it fun and not just a bunch of memorization. The axial skeleton holds you up and also it keeps you safe. We will go from the top of your head to your ribs, and I will point out the parts that help me remember from the lab classes. This one is really cool. It's the only bone in the body that doesn't touch any other bone or connects in any other way. And it is called the hyoid or hueso hyoides in Spanish. It just floats in your throat and helps you with the speech and also with the swallowing. I remember this one as the one that hangs out alone. Um, it is supported by muscles and ligaments, and it is important in your tongue for the movement. Okay, so I want you guys to try to swallow right now, or drink water, or do whatever you want with your mouth, and you will notice that you're using your hyoid. It is small, but it is really essential for functions that we're using like in our daily basis. You also use it when you yawn, cough, or even when you're singing. In this picture, you can see it as the green portion. Um, it's right under your thumb. Okay, next we're gonna have the cervicals, and we're gonna start with the first cervical C1. It's called the atlas, and it supports your head. It lets you make the movement of yes, like this, and next, we have the C2, which is called the axis. This one is going to be right under C1, and it helps you to make the movements horizontally to say no. In the Greek culture, the god Atlas was punished to hold up the world for eternity. So, as well in your body, Atlas holds up your head forever. Otherwise, you won't want that to happen, believe me. These two vertebrae are too crucial for movement. If you ever had neck pain, it is probably because it's involving these bones. The dents on the axis acts like a peg to rotate your head. You can see the dents in these pictures as the red portion, and it connects to the atlas. Um, Later, we have the cervical vertebrae. You have seven of these. Cervical comes from the cervix, meaning neck, or cuello in Spanish. These are really small vertebrae, and these ones have like little holes on the side called transverse foramina. An easy way to remember for these cervicals is remember a seven as the seven wonders of the world, at least for me, but that helps a lot. These foramina are for arteries going through your brain. So they're really important. If you ever feel like dizzy from standing up too fast, sometimes that's related to the blood that is flowing through this vertebra. Later on, we have the thoracic cage or caja torácica. This one protects your heart, lungs, which are vital for you. So it keeps them inside and safer. Um, you got 12 pairs of ribs. The first seven are called the true ribs, and this is because they're directly connected with the sternum. Then we're gonna have number 8, 9, and 10, which are false ribs, and these ones are connected to the sternum by cartilage. And then we have the rib number 11 and 12, which are called floating. These are floating ribs because they have no connection with the sternum directly. That's why they're just floating. I like to remember the sternum as a sword. First, you have the manubrium, which is the handle, and then you have the body, which is the blade, and finally you have the hypoxid process, which is the tip. The ribs are attached to the sternum with cartilage, which lets you breathe deeply with your bones snapping. It is flexible cage that moves when you inhale and exhale. Then we're gonna have the rib articulation. So your ribs don't just float; they snap into your spine at two spots, and also each rib connects to the vertebral body. The transfer process. Think of it like a hanging a code. The joints are synovial, which means that they can move a bit. Um, this helps your ribs to expand when you breathe, and that clicking sound in your back sometimes, that could be your rib joints shifting. Later, we have the cervical vertebrae, the types of that we have. First, we have the cervical vertebrae, that they're small and happy. Think of it like smiley face. You can see a smiley face on this because the transfer foramen is the eyes, and then you can see the mouth that is formed with the vertebral foramen. Then you have the thoracic that looks like a giraffe with the spinous process long and sharp. Then you have the lumbar, which are bigger and bulkier like a moose. Just watch them like with Spanish. The cervical is gonna be related to cuello, thoracic to thorax, and the lumbar to lomo. I don't know if you noticed, but the words are really, really related from English to Spanish, so that helps a lot. Um, Animal flashcards in my head really help out also. And remember the cervical vertebrae that they let you turn your head. The thoracic ones they connect to your ribs and they're protecting your vital organs. And the lumbar ones they hold your body weight. That's why they're bigger than the other ones because they're carrying a lot of weight. Later on, we have the vertebral articulations. Our spine is a stack of bones with soft pads in between. These pads are called the intervertebral disc or discos in Spanish. They act like a car shock absorbers or amortiguadores. I know that's a really hard word, but at least it helps me. So you don't feel every bump when you move. The way I used to remember the name of this disc is with the word inter, which means between. So it's between the vertebrae, as it sounds. And the way they stack with the processes that they interlock, it gives you the spine flexibility without being wobbly. All right, then we have the fetal skull. Um, the skull is going to be different in this stage uh, from later on when the body keeps developing, but it's because they're not fully fused. They have species of fontanellas, which are soft spots. The biggest one is called the anterior fontanelle. Um, the fontanella means window to grow, and it lets the skull shape during birth, and it gives the brain room to expand later on. There are actually six fontanellas total, but the one that you can feel and the most famous is usually closest by age of 2. And you can see like the different ones in these images with different colors. Finally, we're gonna have the skull and the sutures. First, the skull protects your brain and forms your face. It has a total of 22 bones with 8 cranial and 14 facial. These ones are joined by sutures. This word in Spanish is called suturas. So it's basically almost the same thing. These ones they go in like a zigzag form. It doesn't go straight, and the shape lets the sutures be stronger in between. So you have got the coronal suture, like a crown, the sagittal suture that runs from the front to the back, and then you have the lumboid that is at the back of the head, and a squamous on the side. Yes, these sutures help absorb the shock and prevent fractures from spreading. Well, this is gonna be it. Thank you for learning the actual skeleton with me. I hope that the Spanish terms help you remember a little bit if you're having trouble in other language. These are just like small tricks that help me a lot. Thank you for watching. Bye.